Can you imagine being a sumo beast and retiring at just 28? How did he rise like a meteor, only to fall just short of becoming a yokozuna? Was it the injuries, the crushing pressure, or was something missing inside? On the SumoSpirit channel, we dive deep into the warrior who had everything it took to join the greats, but never quite reached the top. Imagine reaching the top of sumo and walking away before turning 30. That's the story of Sato Takanobu, born on August 5th, 1996, in Ashiya, Hyogo. His name already whispered destiny. His father named him Takanobu in honor of the legendary Yokozuna Takanohana. Years later, that very man would become his mentor. Coincidence? Or fate? From a young age, Sato was a warrior. He trained in full-contact karate and nearly conquered it, becoming national runner-up. At the same time, he was grinding through local sumo matches, fueled by his father's constant push. Eat burgers and fries. The skinny kid who weighed just 66 pounds in 3rd grade transformed into a 176-pound powerhouse before finishing elementary school. That growth wasn't just physical, it was symbolic. Regional Kanto champion, 2-time national middle school champion, world youth champion in Taiwan. He wasn't just talented, he was unstoppable. And then, a bold move. Sato turned down college. Why? To join his idol's stable. While still in high school, he entered the Maizumo in September 2014. That's rare. That's guts. His rise was very rapid. Just 14 tournaments into his career. In January 2017, he exploded into the top Makuuchi division. But what happened next? Why did this rising star burn out so soon? Stick around, because Takakeisho's story is just getting started. The breakthrough came at the end of 2018. Takakeisho had arrived. At just 22 years old, he dominated the Kyushu Basho, a crushing 13-2 record. Veterans fell one by one, and for the first time, he lifted the Emperor's Cup. No Yokozuna in sight. Hakuho, outside, Kakuryu, also missing. This was his moment. Could he seize it? In the final match, he took down Nishikigi. Victory, or at least a playoff, was within reach. But it didn't end there. Everything came down to one last bout. If Ozeki Takayasu won, there'd be a tiebreaker. But then, the twist. Mitakumi, who had handed Takakeisho his first loss, stepped in again. And this time, he crushed Takayasu. Just like that, Takakeisho didn't need the playoff. He was the champion. Only 26 tournaments into his career, he had done it. That tied him with the great Akebono as the 4th fastest ever to win a top division title. And at 22 years old, he became the 6th youngest champion since 1958. A meteoric rise. Just 28 tournaments after his debut, and Takakeisho was already an Ozeki. March 27, 2019. The Japan Sumo Association made it official. At only 22 years and 7 months, he became the 9th youngest Ozeki in modern history, and the 6th fastest to reach that rank under the current 6-tournament system. How many can say that? How many rise that fast and carry that much pressure? Over the next 30 tournaments, Takakeisho pushed his body and spirit to the limit. 216 wins, 132 losses, 102 absences, 3 Yusho, 5 runner-up finishes. Against Sumo's elite, he stood tall, winning over 60% of his matches. But it wasn't all glory. He faced Kadoban 7 times. What does that mean? It means he entered the tournament already on the edge. Just one more losing record, and he'd be demoted. Perform or lose it all. The pressure was relentless. But so was he. In 2019, he suffered many injuries that prevented him from becoming a Yokozuna, and he had to settle for maintaining his Ozeki rank. November 2020. The Kyushu Basho began in chaos. Both Yokozuna, outside, 2 Ozeki, injured and gone within 5 days. Suddenly, all eyes turned to Takakeisho, the last Ozeki standing, the top-ranked man in the tournament. Could he carry the weight? Could he rise above it all? He didn't flinch. 8 straight wins. He tore through the competition. Heading into the final day, he was 13-1. But then, Terunofuji, a beast, a rival, Takakeisho lost. The title hung in the balance. But there was one last shot, a playoff. One more match. This time, Takakeisho delivered. He won. His second championship. His first as an Ozeki. 51 wins that year, more than anyone else in the division. The setbacks didn't stop. Injuries kept coming, one after another. July 2021. On just the second day of the tournament, disaster struck again. A brutal match against Ichinojo left Takakeisho with a neck injury. He had no choice. He withdrew. Was his body starting to break down? Could the rising star withstand the toll of sumo's unforgiving grind? His third and best chance to become Yokozuna came in 2023. January 2023. His third championship. And this, after recovering from a brutal ankle injury that almost shattered his dream? Simply astonishing. The whispers began again. Was it time? Could Takakeisho finally reach the top and wear the sacred Tsuna? The Yokozuna Deliberation Council took notice. So did the press. One more Yusho, they said. One more title, and the rope is his. But then, controversy. Despite his January victory, the final record was 12-3. Not enough, declared the judging committee. No promotion. Still, March 2023 held promise. Osaka, his home ground, the very place where he had earned his promotions to Juryo and Ozeki. Could lightning strike again? But the storm hit first. Day 3, a painful win against Shodai, and a devastating knee injury. Takakeisho fought on, his knee bandaged, his face is full of grit. The next day he pulled out. Another chance, gone. Still, the fire burned. His fourth and final title, September 2023 in Tokyo. Despite missing the previous tournament, he came back like a hurricane, going 11-4 and winning the decisive playoff against Terunofuji. That's fighting spirit. Takakeisho needed a dominant win to claim the Tsuna. Could he do it? Was this finally his moment? But on day 8, a third loss crushed the dream. He finished 9-6. Not enough. So close. Again. How many times can you fall before breaking? As if the final step to Mount Yokozuna had given way beneath him. He never wore the Tsuna, but he had the power, the skill, the heart. As an Ozeki, he was strong, fierce, at times unstoppable. This wasn't a story of failure. It was a story of someone who came so close. Japan's top hope. A true contender. Did he need one more Yusho? Yes. Too many injuries? Probably. But impact? Undeniable. Takakeisho carved his name as a true Oshizumo specialist. The aggressive, full-contact pushing style that contrasts with the more common Yotsuzumo, focused on belt grips and hip throws. While many Ozeki and Yokozuna thrive on chest-to-chest grappling, Takakeisho chose to charge head-on. Explosive tachiai, relentless thrusts, and an all-in mindset. His style? Total commitment from the very first second. The moment the bout begins, he drops his head, loads all his weight, and smashes forward like a battering ram. When executed right, it's game over in mere seconds. Takakeisho's most used kimaraite is hiki otoshi, or the hand pull down technique. It involves pulling an opponent forward and down while stepping back, using their momentum against them. This move suits Takakeisho's explosive, low center style, quick, sudden, and surprising. It's not just defense, it's a calculated trap. His tachiai was considered one of the most powerful in recent memory. On online forums, fans often raved, when he lowers his head and just goes, he's unstoppable. Some experts have suggested that his preference for Oshizumo might come from his relatively short arms, which made it harder for him to grab the mawashi like his longer-limbed opponents. And it's true. Some analysts argued that unless he broadened his throwing repertoire, his Yokozuna hopes would remain out of reach. Want to see Takakeisho style in his best 5 bouts? These 5 matches showcase his unique style in all its glory, against Nishikifuji in Akibasho 2022. Nishikifuji decided to fight Takakeisho using his preferred sumo style, but in the end, it didn't help much. We didn't see Takakeisho attack forward, instead he repeatedly deflected Nishiki Fuji's thrusts until victory came by Tsuki Otoshi. Both ended the day with a 9-5 record. Against Nishikigi and Kyushu Basho, 2023. This was a curious match. Nishikigi withstood the initial wave of Tsupari from Takakeisho. These charges weren't enough to force Nishikigi to the edge. However, Nishikigi missed his opportunity to launch a counter-attack at that moment. He basically leaned into Takakeisho's attack and fell, but Takakeisho slid to the right to apply a Hiki Otoshi, bringing Nishikigi down face first. Against Tochinoshin in Akibasho, 2018. Takakeisho brilliantly evaded Tochinoshin's powerful left-hand Mawashi grip, a move that could have ended the bout in seconds. But instead of getting caught, he slipped away with perfect timing, leaving the Ozeki overextended and off balance. In a flash, Takakeisho shifted his weight, capitalized on the opening, and launched a sharp push. The result? Tochinoshin was sent tumbling to the clay with a perfectly executed Hiki Otoshi, a textbook display of speed, awareness, and explosive power. Against Kakuryu in Harubasho, 2019. This victory marked the end of Takakeisho's bid to become an Ozeki. It was a high-quality win. Kakuryu faced him in an Oshi battle and was overwhelmed until Takakeisho finished the match with a Hiki Otoshi. Unfortunately, he lost the next bout, watching his promotion slip away. Against Kaisei in Harubasho, 2019. An effective technique in Takakeisho's attack here was a two-handed thrust, weighted to one side with an opposite pivot. Often, the effect is to spin the opponent by turning to one side, leaving them exposed on the flank and completely vulnerable to an attack. In this case, Takakeisho won with an Okurisashi. His final chapter came in September 2024. After months of chronic pain, body and mind, he made the call. In July, he fell to Kadoban. By day 13, a loss to Terunofuji sealed his demotion. He needed 10 wins in September to return. But 2 early losses, and his body gave out. A medical report revealed the truth. Cervical radiculopathy, disc hernias, spasms. On September 20th, he retired at 28. One of the youngest Ozeki to step away in a century. At his press conference, he was honest. He was exhausted. He had dreamed of becoming a Yokozuna since childhood, but the strength was gone. My goal was to return to Ozeki, but I lacked the power to make it happen. And yet, some fans still wonder, could he have come back? Did he leave too soon? He was young. He still had time. But Takakeisho chose peace over pain, and that too takes strength. His early departure leaves a bittersweet taste. An impressive record: 4 Makuchi titles, 8 runner-ups, 3 technique prizes, 2 for outstanding performance, 2 for fighting spirit, and 3 Kenboshi. But also a lingering question. How far could he have gone without those debilitating neck injuries? Takakeisho will no longer charge into the dohyo with his explosive tachiai, nor will he shake the ring with his ferocious tsupari. His retirement leaves a void, but also an unfinished story. Was it the body that gave up first, or the spirit? If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the SumoSpirit channel for more powerful stories from the world of sumo.